and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today I'm taking a look at a movie that I'm a little bit late on. I was contacted about reviewing this movie a little while ago, and it's taken me a bit to get to it. I apologize for that, but here it is, the 2019 movie Dead Don't Die in Dallas. Currently available on Tubi TV, this movie was written and directed by Israel Luna and stars Willam Belli. So this movie proved to be a little bit of a journey for me as my experience with Willam Belli kind of came into play, so I should probably preface things a little bit. I had really only known about Willam through Willam's Beatdowns, the YouTube channel that he runs, and I had seen it and enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious, but it had been several years. It was one of those things that I would watch with roommates, and since I've moved out, the notion of this channel has kind of just faded away for me. And I've never seen RuPaul's Drag Race, anything along those lines. I'm just not big into reality TV or competition TV generally. So when this movie first started, I did not recognize who Willam Belli was. All I really knew was that this character was captivating. I think for me, when I kick on a zombie movie called Dead Don't Die in Dallas from Tubi TV, I'm kind of expecting low-rung stuff. And when I see a character that is acting very dynamically with some just great zingers, it thrills me to no end. That's some quality writing and quality delivery right there. As the movie progresses, the fog kind of burns away, and I start to recognize that I do actually recognize this character and this individual, and he's just as funny as I remembered. Now, I'm saying he here because, well, I actually did the due diligence and looked up the preferred pronouns from Willam Belli himself, and that's when I found this tweet here, so that's what I'm operating on. In this channel, we respect preferred pronouns, damn it. And so this movie opens up by introducing us to the concept of this pill that is a miracle. It cures all viruses, including HIV, which causes the LGBTQ community to line up for it in droves. Cut to small town America, small town Texas, specifically a church. And outside of that church, a pastor and his wife are just kind of waiting for the congregation to arrive, but nobody's showing up. Nobody's answering their phone. Something's gone horribly wrong here. And it's a similar story elsewhere in town as the local salon is being opened up by Beth Ann Fetterman, played by Willam Belli, and he's wondering where in the hell his co-workers are.
Ginger! Not cool, girl. This is a workplace.
Nobody seems to be around. There doesn't seem to be any explanation. Well, an explanation soon reveals itself as the concept of a zombie infestation has arisen. After these varied and fractured groups of individuals run around for a little bit through a confluence of events, we find them all stuck together trying to survive in the middle of this zombie apocalypse in an abandoned building together. And so, like a lot of great zombie movies, zombies are not necessarily the big plot element. It's more the catalyst for highlighting the conflict within man himself. In this case, the LGBTQ community going up against the conservative Christian community in this small town that has previously butted heads but now are forced to survive together in tight-knit close quarters. I'll be honest, there were a lot of things that I really liked about this movie and several things that I didn't. The humor and the barbed dialogue was right on point and I loved it.
Super duper professional. I know you're here. It smells like Sloppy Joe and Aquanet.
This was not necessarily a Willam Belli vehicle. This was not Willam Scared Stupid. But Willam was very much in the driver's seat, very much one of the biggest main characters in here, going up against the town pastor. And for the most part, 80% of this movie was that kind of slapsticky, barbed dialogue level of bad, fun zombie movie, but every once in a while that 20% would take over and it would focus on the conflict going on and take a really serious tone as some characters would get outed, some characters would get truths revealed about themselves, and the conflicts would continue to pile onto one another. And I don't really have a problem with that. I thought that that was an interesting element to it. It's a little bit tried and true, but tried and true is not necessarily a bad thing. The fact that it's been done before a million times, it kind of just goes to show that it can often work. However, the method of execution in which it went about it was a little bit lackluster for me, and I'm having a little bit of difficulty explaining why. I think for me, what it really came down to is when we have two very dynamically opposed social factions going on that are butting heads, but at the end of the day, it's all being written by one person, it can very easily fall into caricature territory. And that's very much what happened here. The Samuel Jeffries pastor character started out in the movie very caricature-esque, very Texas pastor to the nth degree-esque. And that really didn't change when the tone got more somber and the subject matter got more serious. I just want to be absolutely clear that I am in full support of the underlying social message of this movie, which is love, inclusivity, acceptance, and a derision of hate. However, I also have to say that when it's just one writer that's writing both sides of the argument with a bit of stereotype caricature-esque characters, it can very easily come across as a bit self-congratulatory. And what I mean by that is there are oftentimes moments in this movie that kind of feel like the argument that you play out in your own head while you're taking a shower. You're controlling both sides of the narrative. And yes, oftentimes reality can be very caricature-esque. I mean, take a look at the Westboro Baptist Church, which gets referenced in this movie. Holy shit, that is a group of nutters that have nothing but hate in their hearts and are very much odd stereotypes of themselves. So yeah, reality can meet there, but sometimes fiction actually needs to be more real than real. But even so, I actually do want to point out that even in those moments, Willam Belli actually does manage to turn out a really decent performance. Even if the dialogue that's on the page seems a little bit stilted, I would have to say that Willam's performance of it actually did kind of break my heart a little bit. So, at the end of the day, would I recommend Dead Don't Die in Dallas? That's a good question. I think that if you are not a Willam Belli fan, if you're not a fan of the style of humor that's being presented here or the barbed dialogue, it's probably not going to play well for you. So if you're not familiar with it, if you've never seen Willam's beatdowns, if you've never seen this character in his full limelight, I would say maybe kick it on and just see if it gels for you. Additionally, if you are a fan of Willam Belli and that's why you're watching this video, but you're not a fan of zombie movies or goopy, gory moments and so forth, this probably also won't be for you. This movie is for those people in that Venn diagram where those two things kind of overlap, because both are extraordinarily prominent. This actually does have some halfway decent physical special effects, zombie effects and so forth. As far as being a low-budget ham fest, it does a decent job of that. And as far as being a Willam Belli movie, it's exactly what you'd expect on that level. So if you can appreciate both simultaneously and you know that you're just kicking on a cheese factory film on Tubi TV, then I would say absolutely go for it. This is one that will not disappoint. Beyond that, it's a little bit difficult for me to give a blanket recommendation, but there it is. There's my review of the 2019 movie Dead Don't Die in Dallas. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.